Thank you very much for allowing me this time. Today I would like to talk a little bit, give an introduction about how we came to propose several product solutions to you that a UMPC can be in the very near future. We will go to an introduction, design researches, how we kind of made the process feasible, and in terms of how we came up with the products themselves, some user scenarios, and then product proposals. So first of all, VIA asked Create to identify possible user-machine interface combinations for the ultra-mobile PC platform. This to address this new platform and what it could mean in our daily computer use. So obviously the new form factor is being very small, so we are going to look from a design or from a product design perspective what this could mean and how people could use it. The UMPC as a form factor falls in between laptops, PDAs, and mobile phones. So while it is not pocketable as a device, it is small enough to be kept close at hand, and that should be interesting in terms of what you can do with future applications. Success of the device will highly depend on how companies solve an underlying need by creating niche-focused applications. What we mean by that is that, and it's been iterated this morning already, don't make a PC. If this product is going to be a success, you got to have very focused applications for it. So you've heard it earlier this morning, not all-in-one solutions, but different solutions for different target users. So in the future devices should target those consumers and business people that are not willing to or not eager to sacrifice computing power over mobility. Oop, that's the wrong one. I'm getting the hang of this. So also on the other side of the perspective, one, we have a very new platform that's small and very powerful. On the other side, if you look at the marketing, consumers are getting diversified more and more. They're getting more diversified in ethnicity, wealth, lifestyles, and values. They're also starting to rebel against standardization as they feel it interferes too much with their personal life. For instance, studies show that in 1970, consultants in the US could identify 40 different lifestyles. Today, that number is up to 65. This means that there is a 65% increase in possible target users. So, after decades of global standardization, we are kind of at the verge of a new marketing revolution. Large retailers and consumer companies alike are starting to move away from one-size-fits-all products. So smart companies are starting to use a customization by cluster strategy, where they find communities, consumer communities, that exhibit similarities in demands, and then they're going to verge them into modules in modules that are the right economy or the right size to produce economy of scale. Even Walmart, the sultan of standardization, is moving away from that, and they're starting to test customized store formats and a customized product portfolio. So, excuse me. So if you look at this new powerful platform and the emerging global strategy that people are starting to move away from standardization, we decided as a team to look at the UMPC from a user's perspective. So rather than reiterating user scenarios like health management, watching movies, gaming, and so forth, these things have been talked about for quite a while now. We wanted to focus on saying, what would possible products look like, and they had to be producible in the very near future. Criteria we looked at is user-focused design solutions. So again, it's been reiterated this morning quite a few times. We should have focused applications. Don't try to build an all-in-one system that can do a lot of things, but not one thing very well. Combine currently documented usage scenarios. If you go on the web, you'll find a lot of information about what this thing possibly is going to do and what it's going to bring to the future, and actually propose actual product solutions. We thought that we had to keep in mind, when you're going to use a full-blown Windows solution in such a small product, that some users may not be willing to sacrifice the keyboard. So we looked in that direction. And again, I cannot stress enough, focused niche applications. avoid the Swiss knife effect. So avoid a product that is and a refrigerator and a computer that can do too many things but is not very good at one thing at all. So that's what we looked at, and that's what the kind of the theoretical strategy we set when approaching this project. So design to study and elimination. This is a quick overview of how we came to the final solutions that we're going to present later in the presentation. So first of all, create as a design team, we hold an exercise which is called word associations. We have the entire team come together, and what we do is we rapid fire different words and different ideas that come to our head when we think about a small form factor computer. These suggestions are written down, and then later we step back and we look at it again and start putting post-its on things that we think, hey, this is interesting, this can be a future product in that category. After having done that, we looked at those word associations, and now we started added visual associations to it. So for instance, we created a set of selected groups, and now we started looking at other devices in the market or other products in the market that are already attracting the attention of those target groups. And that can go from bicycles to cars to refrigerators. It's just to give an underlying reference design language for each set that we came up with. Second phase, we started idea sketching. Idea sketching, very rough. So again, we did word associations, still very open and very open-minded. Then we did visual associations, and then we started to think about many ideas. What could any idea in the beginning? We came up, when looking at these ideas, so first we made them and then we hung them up in our office, and then we've started to realize that there are overlapping usability and uses patterns. So we started to group them, and we found 5 groups that are quite interesting: work, travel, fun, home, and mobility. Once we have done that, we presented it again to the internal team at Create. Suggestions and inputs were done in the company. Once we finished that, we went to VIA, and we asked the VIA team their opinions and their suggestions, and they also came up from their side, from the not product design, but the computer side, and gave their input about how these products could actually look like, or what a product like that could look like. After that, we went back to the drawing board and then said, okay, we've got a lot of ideas, we've got input from VIA, we got our own input, let's look at user scenarios. So user scenarios typically is, if a person does A, how would he use the product, and then goes on during his day using, and you see there's a lot of here, I'm not going to go into detail for each one of them, but each one shows a way that a UMPC could actually be very focused on daily life of a certain user. For instance, let me go into detail of this one. We came up with one where we said travel. You know, how would UMPC be focused as a travel companion, where, you know, one, in the airplane to its destination, people can listen to music. When they arrive, their UMPC could be a translator. Voice recognition is getting more mature. There will be in the near future a time that your computer is going to be your translator. Somebody says something in Spanish, you get it back in English. This would be very interesting. It would, of course, be good. You walk into a city, you get a tour guide in your own language. It's downloaded wirelessly. The moment you arrive, you don't have to worry about anything. It could, of course, you know, typical application, watch movies while you're waiting for a bus or you're on the train from one destination to the other, or take pictures. Obviously, that is something that we are very aggressive in when we go on holiday. And maybe, you know, because when we're on holiday, we take a huge amount of pictures, you know, thanks to digital imaging. And then when we get home, we don't have time to actually sort through them, and it's always something you do later. So what if, you know, at night your UMPC would also be there to actually go through your pictures and start archiving them, and at the same time, you know, you could go on the internet and make friends and family jealous about how beautiful the spot is where you are. So this is a typical user scenario, you know, that we came up with. We came 30, 40. Again, we discussed them with VIA, and then we went to the next phase. So from theoretical aspect, there is a pointer on this thing right now. From theoretical aspect, you know, application focused. We don't want a Swiss knife idea. We don't want something that can do a lot of things but nothing very well. And then from the market, we're starting to realize that, you know, the decades of standardization are over. People are really looking again, how can we, you know, customize products by clusters? How can we get, you know, the right economy of scale so we can start customizing for different users? Then we went to idea sketching. Then we went to user scenarios, and from that we came up with 4 different target groups, if I can call them that, where we started designing products for. So once we knew, okay, we want to attract, the attention of the executive, home environment, shopping, and travel, we went back to sketching, and we went through a sketching phase where we did focused applications for these 4 different groups. Allow me to take some water. Next. Oh, that's back. Next. So one of those target groups is the executive. I will go quickly through some user scenarios and then some product proposals. Again, the user scenarios you will hear today, most of them have been talked about already. There's a lot of literature out there, especially on the web, where you can find a lot of things. Oh, whatever UMPC does this and that, and what is it going to do in the future? But I'd like to talk about it again to refresh your memory. So, okay, the executive, in between meetings, the executive may be working on the move. He may need a product where he can say, okay, I can access all my data, I've got everything with me, but at the same time, you don't see a lot of executives running around with a notebook bag. So if you're going to look at top management in many companies, they're still using a typical pen and paper and a agenda that they carry with them. They're not people that carry notebooks around. So no, I don't want to carry a notebook, but yes, I would like to have access to a lot of data, all the information about my company and my presentations. So at the same time, no compromise, please. We don't see an executive keying in information on a very small keyboard that you need to use with your thumbs. These are 40 or 50 plus people, they're not going to be excited by using very small keyboards. At the wireless, of course, that's a given. I can give name cards, company information, and I can share information with other execs very easily. In the meeting room, they would like to have all their data with them. They have presentations to hold. Sometimes one presentation, moves into another. They didn't bring that other presentation. It's all on a dongle. They didn't have size. So if everything is there for them at their fingers, that would be cool. If somebody keeping detailed notes, again, a bit going into voice recognition, what if you could just put your UMPC in the middle of the meeting room? It records all voices in the meeting room and transfers that immediately to text. So, the executive doesn't have to make notes at the end of the meeting himself. But at the same time, as I expressed before, executives are people of a normally older age group. So they're set in their ways. They're used to certain things, and they really want still maybe a notepad and pen available for writing memos. They will still give a name card, and they will still use a normal agenda to type in their schedules and their meetings later. At the end of the day, the product being wireless, in the middle of a meeting, it would be interesting if I can check my schedule. I want to move my flight earlier because, this meeting I don't need to be there. Stuff like that. So with that in mind, we came up with our first product proposal. We call it the executive. So what we see with the executive is it's an agenda device. I don't know if you can. It's an agenda device which is in form factor very familiar and acceptable. So you have a normal agenda book. In the beginning, you would open it by fingerprint recognition. The data on that notebook is extremely confidential. The salaries of your employees may be in there. You don't want anybody to get access to that. It can be used as a normal phone when closed. We came up with some solution that you could actually just have a phone call with it. And now when you open a device, you have access to an initial mini keyboard for meetings. All your meetings information is on there. It records what is being said in the meeting and translates it to text. Access to the internet if you need additional information. But as I explained before, at the same time an executive may need regular notepad, flips around this mini keyboard, and on the other side of this agenda you have a normal traditional equipment to write, to keep name cards, to put your agenda in. And this is something that may be very focused to that kind of a target group. 45-year plus executive will not walk around with a notebook. He may be enticed to have a powerful device like this. When the time calls for it, glide open your mini keyboard that has your minimal functions, and you have an actual full-sized keyboard to write those very important emails. So I think that any exec spends about 60% of his time answering emails, and they would love to do that in meetings. That's maybe why they will carry a notebook into a meeting, is because at least they have got a big keyboard in order to do so. So with this device, we think that, yes, while it's minimal and small, there should be a possibility that you have an extendable keyboard that people can use to type messages for emails. The second solution we came up with as a product proposal for the executive or upper management, maybe a level lower, is the modular. What we're thinking with the modular is you have a normal UMPC, does all the functions, full-blown Windows, you can use it, no more awkward sitting, no more awkward sitting with a full-blown notebook somewhere waiting for a train or in an airport. You can do things on this stuff, but when the time calls for it, you glide the UMPC into a notebook base, and basically, you have a full workstation that during daily operation. Again, it goes back to, for instance, none of the previous speakers and myself, we talk to each other, but we're all iterating the same thing, focused application, and there is a need for peripherals. Now, one of these peripherals could be a notebook frame. The beauty of this would also be that your notebook as a form factor will change a lot, because all your components are on the UMPC. So what you actually have is a very sleek, very slim notebook that weighs almost nothing, a keyboard and a screen. Everything else would come from your UMPC. So carrying that basic notebook, even that would become more easy. And then again, when I have to go to a meeting, I use a notebook all the time. I don't need the notebook, I just need my memory. Take out the UMPC and I go to that meeting. Another category that we identified is home. Again, I'm going to talk a little bit about user scenarios just to refresh your memory, and then we will give you product proposals. So one of the nice lady, things that I lost my speech over her. Things that we looked at is, okay, recipes, it was talked about before. Recipes in the kitchen would be nice to have that, it would be convenient. Why doesn't anybody leave a note? When you are a mom and you have teenage kids, you never know where they are. So, a notebook or a post-it notes would be nice. Shopping, making shopping lists while you're in the kitchen, because you're at the fridge, you can write down immediately what you're doing. And what's going on in the living room, I'm chatting to my girlfriend in the kitchen, the kids are in the living room, are they killing the PS2 station or are they behaving normally? So the baby is asleep, you could check different parts of the house through wireless connection to your camera systems. The house is secure, you could look at air conditioning systems, lighting, sound and movie. The ambiance is all right, nothing can go wrong tonight. So in the home environment, we looked at a product proposal and we call it the butler. The butler, we are hoping that's a very sleek device, very clean, so you put it on the edge of your living room table, and it doesn't look like those typical, I at home, for instance, I have 5 remote controls, and they're all laying next to each other on the edge of on my coffee table. Sadly enough, I'm a designer, but one remote control is more ugly than the other. So what we're thinking is, if you can combine all this in one, when the product is off, you can use, so that you can hide the screen, so it's actually kind of a sleek tablet in a metal finish. When you turn off one of the keys, you activate different applications for the house. They will include your typical things like your stereo control, TV control, and additional applications like, it also controls the air conditioning in my living room. It checks the house if everything is secure if I want to, but I can also go on the internet and check what's on television tonight, or even program my TiVo from the UMPC or the butler. Next scenario, take the butler. Again, applications for the product. Take the butler. In the living room, you have in the kitchen, you have a connecting base, connecting cradle. You slam the butler into there, and then, when the product is off, you can still write notes on it, because it has a non-looking through metal finished screen. But when you want to, touch of a button, you can print post-it notes, or you can print receipts, or you can print shopping lists, and so on. So again, this is another possibilities when it comes to accessories of this product. The butler is also, wireless, so you've interactive cookbook is possible through the internet. Even with the proper fridge, you could have kind of a fridge organizer that tells you what's there and what's not there. It's been tried in the past. With this product, this would all become possible. Again, having used it in the kitchen, you take your butler to the bedroom. In the bedroom, you have another product which has 2 speakers, another cradle. You slap it in there, and your butler becomes your alarm clock and your security system. Alarm clock, I don't have to explain that. Security system, again, because you have cameras throughout your house, you have wireless connection. You can check if all the lights are out, doors are closed, the baby is sleeping, and so on and so forth. Another user scenario another group we looked at is shopping. Again, I will go through these user scenarios to refresh you, and then I will go through some product proposals. Shopping by nature is a very diversified group. We all shop, but the categories of the extreme shopper, and there's a very wide array of target groups. But the user scenarios could be, let's call the girls to go shopping. Hey, this store advertises great sales, let's go in. So you're walking on the street, past stores will contact you and tell you what great bargains you can get inside. Once you walk into the store, it has a kind of mini GPS map and tells you exactly where to find the goods that you want to buy or the shoes that you want to buy. Scanning the barcode on the product, it will not only tell you the price, but the make, the material, some history, maybe even things like what kind of other clothing this item would be good with, stuff like that. So you can go very detailed into shopping. Once you have shopped, you can go on the internet, check reviews on the products that you have bought, or you can send images to your friends explaining, look what I got, things like that. You can also check your bank account and say, okay, I still have enough money to buy a certain product, yes or no. And then it's been talked about before for quite a while now, electronic money. You don't have to bring any coins anymore. You can just use the UMPC in order to pay all your bills. So with that in mind, for shopping, we came up with some product proposals. One is the Valentine. Quite straightforward as a product. Okay, it looks very feminine, it's going to look at a younger market. But then we identified, yes, it will do all these things that I explained in the last slide. But what is the biggest problem when a woman has a Valentine or a UMPC? She drops it in her purse, and then it takes forever to find it. So what we did is that, this is very straightforward. What if the product is kind of geared up to fit into bags and into purses? It has a clip. You can slap it on the partitions in your bag or on one of the side pockets on your bag. And if you would want to, you can rotate it around, slap it on the outside, or clip it on the outside of your bag, and you can make statements to the world. You can use your screen to say how good a day or how bad a day you're having, or leave me alone, I'm in a bad mood. The advantage of something like this is that it's a straightforward UMPC, but you can do it with as many bags as possible, and you can find it easily to do all the functions that you need. Another proposal within the shopping category is the Walletino. What we're trying to do with here is to go for an existing user behavior. Nobody leaves their house without their wallet. So to implement a new technology into an existing user behavior is always easier than trying to get the user to do something new. So what we did is combine best of both worlds, combine a UMPC and a wallet, and call it a Walletino. So one is when the product opens, the advantage of a female wallet is that it's normally bigger than a guy's wallet. The advantage of a bigger wallet is that we have enough space to put a reasonable sized keyboard in there without actually having to change the form factor of a female wallet. So basically, yes, it has a screen. I can go on the internet, I can check prices, I can do all these things that I explained in the user scenario, flip it open, and on the other side could be your purse for your coins, or could even be, your makeup kit, or also an agenda as we showed in the executive. Last but not least in the shopping area, Expressionato. What if you take it a step further and you start, you want to tell the world what you're doing? It's all about, in a certain category at least of female shopping, it's about expression. So what if my UMPC helps me with telling my mood and how I'm feeling to the rest of the world? So basically what we came up with is, You could design a line of normal purses which have a special holder for your UMPC. You come with translucent and semi-transparent outside surfaces, and when you turn on the product, you can show the great bag you bought, or who is your favorite movie star at the moment, or who you're in love with, or the picture of your baby. And obviously by doing this, you can still diversify to many different target groups within the female consumer group, and just take out the UMPC in order to use it, use all the functions we explained before. But on top of that, it helps you in your expression as a person. Travel. Again, use the scenario and product proposals. So, okay, what flight am I on? Where is the gate? This airport map is great. So basically, it would be cool that that if you have to do a lot of airports in the world, you understand that it's very difficult to find everything there. You could, the moment you have your travel UMPC with you, it tells you exactly where the gate is, what flight number, and so on and so forth. You could go online and check, your train schedule. You're still flying. You're a bit worried that you won't arrive on time, so you can check if your train schedule is in line with your flight schedule. You arrive on your destination, as I explained before. You want to take a tour around town. Wirelessly upload a tour guide, and the fun can start. Equally important, what did they say? Luckily, UMPC can translate it for us. The voice recognition will allow us that, one person says one language on the other side, it comes out your language at your side. So that could greatly simplify the way we are going on holiday. Pictures on the wall, who's the fairest of them all. It's unbelievable how user behavior changed since digital video camera and digital camera. If you calculate on your typical family holiday how many pictures you take now and how many pictures you took 5 years ago, it quadruples almost. Then at the evening in the hotel room, actually on holiday you do have time to organize your pictures, and you can go through your category, analyze them, make slideshows, or even make postcards and send them to friends and family on the other side of the world. So in travel we came up with a product proposal we call the Holiday Mate. Holiday Mate would be a project. It acts, feels, and reacts very much still like a normal digital camera or digital video camera. The advantage being that everything you take is stored on the product directly. You don't have to go through all these docking procedures and trying to pair the product with your computer. Best of all, the form factor, with UMPC getting smaller all the time, the form factor allows you to develop a focused product that is small enough and that looks, acts, and feels like a real camera. Again, inside it would still have all the functions of the Travel Mate that I explained before, translation or tour guide, translation, taking pictures. But, next step, you're at the swimming pool. You've taken a lot of pictures. You can flip open the other side of the screen. You've got quite a large screen at the moment, and you can start editing. You glide down a small control board that has real-time editing functions, so it's very focused application on managing your pictures and managing your holiday videos. You have editing controls with glide switches for volume and speed. Even sensors in order to control the product. So your slide your slide presentation or your holiday presentation starts looking very professional. In the hotel room, even later at night, flip open the other side of your screen, glide open the screen sideways, and you get a mini keyboard, so you don't have to go on holiday and get into the smoky internet cafes on the other side of the world where nothing works. You can do it right from your hotel room. You can send emails to friends, check your work if you're a bit of a workaholic, and make friends and family jealous about the location you are. So the executive, the modular, the butler, the Valentino, Expressionato, Walletino, the Holiday Mate. The point we're trying to make with this product is that, and it's been said, luckily it's been said a few times this morning too, focused applications. Don't try to make an all-in-one product, but try to make products that are targeting a certain group of people, and they will be interested in buying your product. And make the product do certain things very good rather than everything just a little bit half-half. So, We believe that this will work. The thing is that consumer companies, OEM, ODM, and consumer companies need to take the leap of faith to not develop one product fit all solutions, but actually take the risk of going for targeted markets. Lucky, the marketing side of the industry is moving into the same directions. They're also moving away from standardization. They're also trying to come up with customized, be it of economy of scale, but customized product for different target groups. It's not about making small LCD displays. The industry is working on that. It's not about making small keyboards. The industry is also working on that. It's not about making small components. VIA is working on that. It's actually, the technical future of the UMPC depends on a much less sexy technology. I hope I don't offend anybody by saying this. The future will depend on how long will it take for companies to develop small and long-lasting batteries. Again, we didn't talk to each other, but throughout the presentations this morning, people have reiterated that 3-hour, 4-hour, with that kind of a power, it's a device you want to use completely differently. You want to have it all day, it needs to operate all day, and it needs to do whatever you want to do as a function during that day. Why? Because it will do more than one function at a time. It will not be your agenda, it will also do other things like that. So battery power is extremely important. Thank you for your time, and I hope you found it interesting.